Distance can be a major barrier to accessing quality healthcare on time. That's where Angel Flight East comes in. Welcome to Takeoff Talk with Angel Flight East, a nonprofit dedicated to providing free flights for children and adults who need medical treatment far from home. We don't know how many people forego medical care because they don't have accessible transportation, and that's what this podcast is here to change. Join passionate AFE staff members Jess Ames and Maddie Beck as they share real-life stories from people who have used AFE services to get the care they need when they need it.
We are good. So you are our second guest for our new podcast, Takeoff Talk.
Hi.
Sandy, if you are comfortable, can you tell us a little bit about your medical journey and how you found Angel Flight?
Yes, I have really had difficulty through the years. I've had to go to this. Vanderbilt was the third major medical facility that I've been sent to for the autonomic nervous system disease that I have. And there was just no way at the time. My only sister that can drive that far was sick, and I just didn't see how I was going to be able to get up there. And with my spine in the condition it was in, I couldn't really make the journey by vehicle anyway, and by automobile. I was talking with my navigator, Kathleen, at United Healthcare. And I said, Kathleen, you've worked so hard to get this approved and make a way for me. And I said, and now, I have no way to get there. So she started digging, and she came up with Angel Flight and two other organizations. Well, the other organizations could not handle me. And so when I called Angel Flights, I was told that, yes, you would accommodate a flight for me. You could do it at the time that I needed. And we went from there, and everybody there, I want to say a big thank you to your organization for having the compassionate, dedicated people that you have, because some of my flight situation through this was really made difficult because of a storm that was moving in. And with the smaller airplanes, they can't fly if there's moisture in the air and the temperature's too cool because of ice, getting on the wing flaps,
right,
where they can't land. And David worked with me. I had been in the hospital for a week at Vanderbilt University. I had to stay over that when I got the day that I got out of the hospital because I had to go back to the heart center for a test. And so that threw us into the next day where a real bad system was coming through. And David worked from, I don't know what hour of the morning, bless his heart, but he said, we will get you home, Miss Smith. Don't you worry about it. And they did. And every one of the pilots that have flown me have just been the most fantastic people. They make the journey a joy. They take care of your needs when you get there. And y'all have a really good name out there, because when they hear Angel Flights, the airport is like, okay, we're going to take care of you. They've done their part. We'll do our part. And it has been such a blessing to me. I just cannot tell you how thankful I am for your organization and what you do.
So now we won't tell them if you have a favorite pilot, but do you have a favorite story about an Angel Flight that you want to tell listeners?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Is it all right if I say the pilot's name?
Yeah, go right ahead. Give him a shout out.
Zalman Jaffe has flown me several times because I've had to go up there several times. And I was really, really nervous. I haven't flown that much and never flown in the smaller aircraft. And he has all these pictures on his phone where he has traveled to 48 states, and he just made it. I mean, it was like a vacation for me. I got to see all of these areas and everything. And I mean, they really, really are people-oriented people. They want to make the journey as nice and comfortable as they possibly can. And I have arthritis all over my body. So the first time we flew, I didn't have the little step stool to help me get up in the airplane. So we had to try several different positions, but he was just so caring and so compassionate. And he said, "Miss Smith, don't feel bad about it." He said, "This isn't the first time and it won't be the last time somebody had a little difficulty." Well, the next time that he flew me, he had went and purchased a little fold-up stool so it would fit, because with your luggage and theirs and everything that they have to carry, they only have so much storage room. And boy, I just got right up in that plane like I was a pro.
You are a pro now.
And money can't buy that. It's priceless, the treatment that you receive from your organization and the people that work with you.
Sandy, where do you fly from? Is it Virginia or West Virginia?
It's Virginia, Lynchburg, Virginia. Yeah. And we got to go over the mountains, and Mr. Jaffe told me, he said, "Now you're going to feel some bumps in the road." He said, "But it'll just be kind of like a bumpy road, that you go over." And honestly, to me, it was less than, what you would receive in a vehicle on the road. And I got to looking and picking out things. He would show me things. And then as we went up, and he said, "Now you'll get to see coming back the view that I'm getting." And I learned how to find schools because of the baseball fields and the track run and tennis courts and things like that. And it was really, it was just so enjoyable. And I couldn't believe how quickly the time passed. We had a right difficult headwind coming at us, so it took us about an hour longer to get there. But I told him, I said, "I'm having fun."
It sounds like you might be one of our Angel Flight pilots one day, because you are an expert at flying.
Hey, I wish I could. And he did. In fact, he showed me all the things and he said, "Now, if I hold a finger up, don't say anything, because I've got to hear what the, I'm sorry, y'all, I have to help.
Air traffic control.
Right. Air traffic control is saying." And he is such a cut up. He knew that a jet was going to be going up front of us. And I was looking out the side, looking for all my stuff and trying to find me some horses to see, because we were traveling over some, and that's something you don't get, with a big jet on farms. And so he tapped me on the knee and he said, "Look," and I nearly had a heart attack. "We're not going to get it over." He said, "No."
Yeah. How many times have you flown with Angel Flight East?
Well, Mr. Jaffe took me up, and in fact, he had never been to Nashville, so he stayed over, and he was the one that brought me back in November. And then in January, I had to go up. He took me then, and that's when I was put in the hospital. Well, coming back, they could only get me because of the weather that was coming in. A young man named Jeremy, and he had one of his work friends, Todd, to come with him. He had a meeting at the Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge Airport. So they got me that far. And then one of your people just kept on until they found somebody that could take me the rest of the way. But Jeremy had Todd, and Todd just really hadn't flown, in a plane like that either. And he said, "Oh, we've only got, see this right here on this computer?" He said, that's 2 planes flying under us. And I said, Jeremy, you're a rascal, because Todd looked like a robot. He got so still and his little head was shaking. He said, are you sure we're going to be okay? And then when we got to the airport, Jeremy went to his meeting. The airport furnished us with a complimentary vehicle. He took me out to lunch. And when I came back, the airport there put me in a room with a TV and a private bathroom. And I was so tired, where I had been in the hospital for 8 days. And then I had to stay over and go back to the, like I said, the heart center. And when I got in there, I said, oh, wow, what a wonderful leather couch. And I laid my head back, and the girl said every now and then one of them would come in to check on me. She said, you just snored yourself to death.
Sounds like you get the VIP treatment.
I'm telling you, if, like I said, all you got to do is say Air Angels, and they're like, we're going to do our part to make it very, very comfortable for you. And she came in there, and the young lady at the airport did. And she said, your pilot's here. I said, well, then I better get my act together. And it was Mr. Jaffe. And I will say this. I don't know if you'll have to cut it out or not, because but my sister was praying because she thought I was going to have to, stay over there in that area and it would be like 7 days, for that weather to pass through, to the point to where one of your pilots could come and get me from there. And she said, I just kept praying, let Mr. Jaffe look at his messages. Let him see his messages. And Mr. Jaffe said, something hit me. And I just said, I need to check my messages. And he said, well, that's my Miss Smith. I'll just have to go get her. And he did, bless his heart. He came and got me. And I asked him, if it was all right if I called to make sure that he got home okay. And he said yes.
Oh, that's amazing. We love when pilots and patients create these friendships. Yeah. I feel like that's one of our most favorite parts of Angel Flight.
Well, I tell you what, you've got some fine people. You really do. And Jeremy and Todd were in the type of plane that I had to get up on the wing. And because of the arthritis in my right knee, and I injured it, I went down. And I looked up. Todd said, now don't get excited. He said, we're 2 big strapping young men and we're strong. And Jeremy was behind me on the other side. And he said, now I'm going to pull, and Todd, you push. Well, he did. And I went kaboom in that back seat. And Jeremy said, Todd, do you know your own strength? He said, I didn't want to go through the other side. I said, Jeremy, don't say anything. You got me in here in one piece. I'm thankful. I mean, that's just, to them, it's just make it fun. Whatever you face, you make it fun.
We have to call this airport and see if they have like video camera footage, because I would love to see that.
Oh, I'm telling you, and I know this is awful. When I saw Mr. Jaffe coming in the airport, I just ran and hugged him. I said, did I break anything? I said, I was so glad to see you, know that I was going to get to go home. I was so homesick. He said, it's okay.
Before Angel Flight, were you, so like I know your sister was the only person who was capable of driving you. But so if she wasn't around and you didn't have us, what were you going to do? I
wasn't going to be able to make my appointment.
Wow.
After all that Kathleen had done, and Dale here, she helps us get services coordinated that we need. And she told me, she said, I tell you what, Miss Smith, she said, they are the most helpful people that I believe I have ever worked with in trying to get something. And I mean, people don't realize what all is involved, in a flight like that. And especially, going over mountains and the weather and the wind and everything. But I'm telling you, you've got some experts. They know exactly what to do and when to do it.
Sandy, you're going to be a great spokesperson for us one day. I can tell.
Well, I tell you what, I told Dale, I said, you make sure that you keep all that information because I live in an independent senior apartment complex. But so many of the people, their families are gone, they're on their own. And when they need something like this, they can't go by themselves. And I mean, when I was in the condition that I was in, going to the hotel, Mr. Jaffe talked to them. And there was a young man there, and he knew I was afraid. Because when I went in November, I had an aide with me, but I didn't have one in January. And he checked on me every couple of hours. And he said, "You're like my mother." He said, "If my mother was somewhere like this, I would want someone to check on her." So they just all work together. It's just an awesome team of caring, precious people that's been put together to get you where you need to go. And you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to worry about anything because they're going to look out for you. If I had a double stroke, it really messed up my thought process and my memory. So they just looked out for me like I was a 2-year-old child. And pretty much when it comes to things like that, I am.
Typically, Jess and I travel together to go to conferences and presentations and things like that. But I think I'm going to replace Jess with you. You sound like you'll be a much better companion.
Be prepared for a lot of weird things to happen in West Virginia.
Yes.
Yeah. I do like the back roads personally. So
I've been that route too, going to the University of Ohio in Toledo to a specialist up there. And honey child, West Virginia has some roads where you meet yourself coming.
You have no idea.
West Virginia is one of our favorite states to visit, specifically Beckley, West Virginia. Everybody's just so nice and welcoming there, but they definitely know that we are not locals. So it's kind of like you walk in somewhere and they just turn around like, "Why are you here from Philadelphia?"
The DJ disc skips a little bit as soon as the door opens with us walking in.
I tell you, you find, and I have through this, that there are a lot of wonderful people out there that love to help others. And I try to return it doing what I can. It's over Facebook mostly, but if I can just encourage somebody some way, it means a lot to me. And I'll guarantee you one thing. I felt like I had a cheering section behind me to get me there safely, to get me there enjoyably. And that's the way it went down.
Can you explain what it's like to fly in a small airplane for anybody who may not be familiar?
Not having the compression, really and truly, that was better for me with what I have going on. And the being able to see and enjoy the areas that you're traveling over. You don't get that in the larger planes. And honest to goodness, we went through clouds, we went through rain and the wind, but you really didn't feel it. And you were through the clouds so quick, and I like waiting for it to break and see, well, now where are we now? I knew a little bit after that first trip on the second trip. So it is just, to me, it's like going up in a helicopter. You don't have all that noise because you don't even hear the propeller with the headsets on. And you just get to enjoy the scenery, enjoy the pilots because they are just something special. And it's just a wonderful journey. I told Mr. Jaffe, I said, I don't know what I was afraid of, but I said, but never again. And if I can share that with anybody, they will enjoy themselves. They most definitely will. One of the airports that we had to stop at for Mr. Jaffe to refuel, we had a crosswind out of this world. These people know what they're doing. And he said, now, this may be a little rough. And all I felt that time was the touchdown. And I said, Mr. Jaffe, if this is all we have rough, then you are a baby if you can't take this. But I always felt safe. I felt comfortable. And each airport that we stopped at, even that little airport, and it was in Sevierville, am I saying it right? Tennessee.
Yeah, I love it there.
Yeah.
I guess you didn't get to stop for the moonshine, though.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Jaffe kept me on water because he knew I had to get back in that plane.
So our last question for you is if there is any final thoughts that you want to leave our listeners with.
Don't wait to call. If you need the help, it's there. It's fantastic assistance, and you will be taken care of as if you were a family member. Even if you're on your own, you don't have to be afraid. I'd like for them to know that.
I love that. Yeah, because I feel like so many people are unaware Angel Flight or public benefit flying organizations are even an option. So as much as we can get the word out, it's just so helpful because you don't know how many people may not be getting to their medical care because they think they don't have a way to get there.
Right. Well, if it hadn't been for Kathleen at United Healthcare, after those other two organizations had turned me down, I wouldn't have known about Angel Flights and to try you all. And I mean, my cardiologist just desperately needed the assistance that Dr. Muldowney at Vanderbilt was able to give him. And I really needed to get there. I really needed to get there for the care. And I was like, why ever go by car when you can go with Air Angel?
You can fly like Kim Kardashian.
Let me tell you, I wouldn't miss your pilots for anything in the world. They are just super people. Super people.
And we're pretty spoiled.
I tell you, y'all have gotten together a wonderful, wonderful group of people to work and see that it's done. And I don't know how in the world you do what you do. And my situation made it very, very difficult for Air Angels by me missing that flight the day that I got out of the hospital because I had to go back and then rearranging it in less than 24 hours. I mean, that was like mission impossible. And I thought, well, Lord, it's going to be me and the Holiday Inn Vanderbilt for about a week. And my sister was crying and I was crying. And I said, well, sissy, at least I got a roof over my head. I'll be okay. And then I got the call and I was like, how in the world did you do what you did? But I really thank you for taking the time and the effort and working so hard and diligently to get me home.
We're happy to do it anytime for as long as you need. I'm sure you know that already.
And I've got an appointment coming up in November. They need me to go back because they found some neurological problems with this disease that we never even knew about. And that's with going to Ohio and going to Raleigh-Durham to Duke. So sometimes, I was sent to the right place at the right time. That's all I can say. And that wouldn't have happened had it not been for your great organization. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, this is a perfect way to start our Monday.
Yeah, I have a little goosebumps.
Well, I tell you what, I have a whole lot of better life because I got to go up there. And I'm thankful for that. Very, very thankful and grateful.
Thank you so much, Sandy. We are so appreciative of you sharing your story and your morning with us. And if you're ever in Philadelphia, we'll come pick you up.
But we'll also pick you up in Lynchburg.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
We look for any reason to leave the office.
Yeah. Well, girls, y'all got to get out. Tell them y'all got to get out there and get the word spread.
I know. We have to get to Virginia. We don't go there as often as we should.
Yeah. And if you do, and you're anywhere close by, let me know.
Okay, you're on our list.
So before we end the recording, I do want to just take a screenshot of our screen so we can share it on social media so people know the faces of one of our podcasts. So I just need you to smile and I will take it.
Wait, do we smile now?
Well, yeah, I just took it. So now we got to do it again.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
It doesn't take much to get me tickled. I'm awful.
Listen, if you hang out with us for too long.
Yeah.
You girls are great. Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Nervous. You put me at ease, and I hated for you to have to use this ugly mug to do it. But if I can help somebody through you all, I would do whatever you asked.
You're the bomb, Sandy. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you too.
All righty. Well, I'm going to let Jess end the recording. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as this is ready to go, you'll have a copy.
We will send it to you ASAP.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Sandy. Yeah. Have a great day.
Yes. And thank you to your helper for setting this all up with you.
Oh, yeah. Tamika, she is such a blessing. She really is. I told her, I said, you really should get paid more by the hour because not only do you have to help me body wise, but I said, you have to be my brain.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a good Monday.
And you girls have safe travels and just enjoy yourself.
We will. We'll stay out of trouble. But if we're in trouble, we'll call you.
Yeah.
Please do. And I'll say, Lord, you got to help them.
Yeah. Sandy reminds me of my Aunt Gertrude.
I was thinking the same thing.
I was like, man, I bet she would make a great pie like Aunt Gertie did.
We didn't even get Aunt Gertie's pie. Yeah. For the listeners wondering about who Aunt Gertie is, Jess's dad signed us up to go and meet Jess's great Aunt Gertie in Beckley, West Virginia. And we couldn't find her house because 3 houses shared the same driveway. And Jess went to all 3 of them just to knock and find Aunt Gertie. I, like the good best friend I am, stayed in the car.
Yeah, she said it's probably not a safe idea to walk through strangers' yards in West Virginia, but I'm here to tell the story.
We listened to a murder podcast the whole way there.
I know, but I usually fall asleep, so I don't hear the whole thing.
And this is why.
So for all of our listeners, our first episode, we were thinking about it after. If you don't know who we are, we just wanted to give a little bit of background, how we found Angel Flight and how we have become Thelma and Louise, which we still have not watched the video. So I have no idea who is Thelma and who is Louise. But I found Angel Flight probably 8 years ago on Craigslist, which I would probably not recommend looking for a job on Craigslist in 2023, but it worked out. And I am now the outreach and events director for Angel Flight. So I work a lot, primarily with Maddie. We travel to a lot of rural healthcare conferences just to get the word out about Angel Flight, because as we were telling Sandy, there's so many people that unfortunately don't know about it still. So we just tried to get the word out as much as we can to help more patients in need.
And I am Maddie. I have been with Angel Flight East since 2018. I joined Angel Flight originally right after I graduated college because my mom was Ellen, our executive director's spinning instructor. And she came home from the gym one morning to tell me that she found me a job. And it was me being the flight coordinator for Angel Flight East. So I was essentially the liaison between pilots and patients, making sure that everybody got where they needed to go. I took a reprieve thinking that the grass was greener on the other. I just said greener, but the phone's also ringing, so I'll wait.
You should never leave. It's never greener or gleaner. Burn.
I don't know. You weren't there, so it's kind of nice.
Now we share an office, so it is great.
As I was saying, I took a reprieve in 2021, maybe, because I thought that the grass was greener.
I'm never going to let you live this down, and I'm sure Tom Mellett won't either.
I'm just not going to tell people that I left. The grass is greener nowhere. Take it out. But I thought that I could get paid more and be happy in the for-profit world. That's a lie. I was miserable. My mom called Ellen and asked her to take me back. So I came back and I make more money, and I use my degree, all things that I was really aiming for. So now I do community outreach with Jess, and so I'm the one who's giving educational conversations to community organizations. I give presentations and show off Angel Flight at conferences. I do all of our social media,
and you get to hang out with me every day for 8 hours a day.
I wasn't really gonna brag about. If anything, that's like a cry for help.
Well, when Maddie first started as our flight coordinator, she was given a little bit of a test and had to be my helper at Wings and Wheels. And I was like, man, what if I don't like this girl? And we ended up becoming pretty close pretty quickly, but only because we had to share a hotel room when we were not friends yet. And she got to see the true me, which is I am the person who unpacks my suitcase right away when I live somewhere for even a day. And then she forced me to be her friend by getting us matching lobster pants that we had to wear at a conference. And the rest is history, basically.
Well, I don't know why we didn't use that picture of us in our cover art.
No, I was weird looking back then.
Yeah, but like the picture over here, we should have used that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I can replay with this. I have ideas.
Well, that's the story of us.
Right. We're happy that you guys are here. We're so excited to keep this going. Please give us any feedback that you come up with. We're happy to hear all about what you guys are thinking. Unless it's mean, then keep it to yourself.
Yeah, don't be a troll. I can't handle it. I'm self-conscious already.
Yeah, we don't do well with bullies unless we're bullying. So
well, we hope you enjoyed our conversation with Sandy today, and we are looking forward to sharing more stories from our patients and volunteer pilots with you. Bye.
That's it for today's episode of Takeoff Talk with Angel Flight East. If you want to learn more about our services, please visit our website at www.angelflighteast.org or call our office at 215-358-1900. Join us in our mission. If you're a healthcare worker or a patient in need of air travel and flight services, AFE is here for you. Subscribe to the show so you can hear more stories. Join us again next week right here on Takeoff Talk.